2016. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger, promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board, filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public of time and place according to the provision of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Good evening, everyone. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Mr. Gurriel.
Yes, Mayor. I have a number of things to report. I've been in touch with the DOT relative to our new DOT projects. They're still in the process of review. They're obviously shorthanded, or they tell me they're shorthanded and behind. But I would expect that we have something in the next week or so. Hopefully we'll be out for bid by the time we meet again. I prepared some estimates for the county grant. The estimate to pay all of Center Street from the south through to the park is about $425,000. I think what we're going to do is put in for that. And, you know, obviously we're not going to get it, but we'll put in for it and see what happens.
Okay.
I'm having a pre-construction meeting next week on the sewer replacement out here on Center Street. We should be doing that work, I would expect, by the end of this week, maybe the beginning of the following week. And we're ready to go back out for bids on the sidewalk program. That should be just around the next meeting right after this. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from Mr. Gurriel? No, I have one. When we were working on Willow Avenue, there was they hit a gas pipe. Did you get a report on that?
They hit a gas pipe? No, I did not.
Yes. Did you know about it?
I did not.
Okay. Yes. They had a gas pipe. There was no problem. Our fire department was out there. The police, county was out there just to make sure everything was under control. But yes, they did hit a gas pipe.
I know there was suspect that they hit a sewer, but that was not the case. And it was just a problem for the residents.
All right. Thank you.
Mayor, when did that happen?
Was it at the end of last week? I don't remember it actually, to be honest, but yes. Yes, our fire department, police, and the emergency people were out there with the county.
Nothing happened?
No, everything was fine, thank you. Okay, Mr. Nod will be here at 7:30, so please hold your questions for him at that time. Ms. Ariano, any report first, please?
I do. So the first thing is I sent you an email about an open request that I received. The attorney directed me that the contents is attorney-client privilege. So you have to let me disclose it if you so choose. I have a resolution not on the agenda to allow that. Allow that. And everyone knows what the letter is I'm talking about, so that's it. If you say yes, I give it out. If you say no, I don't.
I, for one, support disclosing it.
And, you know, if you don't even have to say anything, like I can just read the resolution later and you can just give out your vote.
Okay.
If you want.
Okay,
That's
everybody
fine.
okay with that?
Discuss it, whatever.
Okay, any further comments at this point for that? Hearing none?
All right. And I have a memo I prepared. I will pass it out to you after I read it. The memo is directed to the mayor and council regarding health benefits for elected officials. New Jersey State Health Benefits Program. History. The State Health Benefits Program was established by Chapter 49, Public Law 1961, to provide traditional indemnified benefits for state employees and their dependents. Chapter 125, Public Law 1964, extended the program to include employees of local government at the option of each employer. Local employees must adopt a resolution to participate in the State Health Benefits Program. The State Health Benefits Commission, SHBC, is the executive organization responsible for overseeing the State Health Benefits Program. The State Health Benefits Program Act is found in New Jersey Statutes Annotated, Title 52, Article 14, 17.25. Rules governing the operation and the administration of the program are found in Title 17, Chapter 9 of the New Jersey Administrative Code. Chapter 9 of the New Jersey Administrative Code, Section 1.4 reads, Employer Participation. An employer joining the state health benefits must adopt the resolution furnished by the division and must agree to comply with the statutes and the rules adopted by the commission. Goes on to say a little bit more when it comes into effect. Employer participation. On November 11, 1974, the Mayor and Council unanimously adopted Resolution 2997. Be resolved, the Borough of Garwood, County of Union hereby elects to participate in the program provided by the New Jersey State Benefits Program Act of the State of New Jersey to become a participating employer and to authorize coverage for all employees and their dependents thereunder in accordance with the statute and regulations adopted by the State Health Benefits Commission. As a participating employer, we will pay and remit to the State Treasury contributions, premiums on account of employee coverage and periodic changes in accordance with the requirements of the statute and with the rules and regulations duly programmed thereunder. We hereby appoint Borough Clerk to act as certifying agent in the administration of this program. This resolution shall take effect immediately, and coverage shall be effective as of March 1st, 1975, or soon thereafter, as it may be effectuated pursuant to the statutes and regulations. As contained in NJSC 17.9-1.4, an employer joining the state health benefits must adopt the resolution furnished by the division and must agree to comply with the statutes and rules adopted by the Commission. I am the certifying officer for the administration of the State Health Benefits Program at the local level. I add and remove employees from the system for specific reasons that include the following options: leave of absence, involuntary termination, death, termination, retirement, reduction in work hours. There is no option to remove employees for other reasons. I cannot select an option that is false. Moreover, in these cases, I am required to offer the employee COBRA benefits or complete eligible retiree forms in the case of retirement. COBRA has its own eligibility requirements, and the passing of an ordinance to remove an employee does not create an eligible COBRA situation. The other method to remove is a voluntary waiver. Through this process, employees can voluntarily waive health care by completing the program application, signing the waiver form, and providing proof of other insurance. Some employees have chosen to waive health care for coverage with their spouse. The governing body cannot force employees to sign the waiver through the passing of an ordinance or any other method. I have heard many of you talk about other municipalities that have removed eligible elected officials from the system. The elected officials had to agree to waive the health care and to provide proof of other insurance. I doubt the certifying officer of those municipalities selected a false situation to remove employees. A certain municipality rescinded the ordinance because they probably realized they could not remove the elected official against his will, which is I am telling you tonight. In any event, this certifying officer will not select a false option to remove the employee. The State Health Benefits Commission is the authority that regulates state health benefits program and sets the statutes and rules to govern the program. It is not the governing body. Adoption of an ordinance does not comply with the rules of the program and has no authority to remove any employee from the program unless the removal is compliant with the rules and statutes. Chapter 2, Public Law 2010, effective May 21st, 2010, exempted newly elected officials from being eligible for employer-paid health care coverage because under the new law, they are required to work a certain number of hours to be eligible. Prior to passing this law, elected officials were entitled to employer-paid health care with no minimum hour requirement. Minimum work hours for coverage. An employee or officer of the local employer or the state who met the minimum work hour requirements prior to May 21st, 2010 will be eligible for continued coverage under the State Health Benefits Program, provided there is no break in the employee's service or reduction in work hours. There has been no break in service, therefore the elected official cannot be removed from the system by the adoption of an ordinance. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, any unfinished business before the council? Hearing none, any new business before the council? I have a couple of things. Excuse me. As a member of the Union County Community Development Block Grant Social Services Committee, we were reviewing a grant for Union County College Senior Life Programming. To my surprise, I discovered that the music appreciation class is being held in the Garwood in the Village of Garwood facility. This class on music appreciation is held on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and the schedule runs from September the 10th through May the 4th. Our seniors may still register for a class if it's still available. Last week, I attended a meeting with the Union County mayors and legislators with Senator Sweeney, held at Union County College. It was a general meeting about concerns of the mayors of the county. It was no surprise that the communities had many of the same basic problems. Major issues that were discussed were the infrastructure trust fund being emptied by June 2016, affordable housing requirements, the school funding formula, shared services, last but not least, Railway Valley rates, and generally tough economic times around the state. The Borough of Garwood is providing a new service to residents, hereby they can pay their taxes online. As in practice in many surrounding communities, this service is growing in popularity and is a convenient method of paying their taxes. In order to participate, taxes must be current, and late payers still have to visit our tax office in person. If you visit the Garwood website, www.garwood.org, you will see at the top right corner a place to click to avail yourself to the service. Be aware, however, that there are fees associated with the service that were set up by the credit card companies, not by the borough, and the borough does not keep any extra funds that are paid for this convenience. That's all I have for now. Okay. Moving on. Comments or matters for discussion from members of council. Councilwoman Kukuro.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few words I'd like to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would first like to start with some info I have received on moving forward on speed bumps in town. I believe the best place to start is on 4th Avenue by the Westfield border, onto Walnut in front of the school, and on the Indy 500 section of 2nd Avenue that comes into town from Holly Street. I spoke to the mayor of Westfield, and he put me in touch with Jim Gilday, the town administrator. He was very helpful in the process they went through. He also said it's worked out extremely well in Westfield. They had them installed on Benson, which I travel every day, Broadway Avenue, and Gallows Hill Road. There were a few steps to go through to get the ball rolling. The first was a comprehensive traffic consultant. He recommended the RBA group. Once that study was done, and if it supports installation of speed bump, then a traffic engineer is brought in to go over all the options. He said they had 3 public meetings to go over their exploratory summaries with the residents, which was very helpful in shaping the dialogue. Of course, most important is the cost, which he stated would be $20,000 to $30,000 for the consultant alone. Which leads me into the next point I wanted to make. The cost for health benefits for our current council person for 1 year.
May I ask you to save that for the discussion during the ordinance, reading of the ordinance, please?
Really?
Yes.
What, she can't talk about that now, Mayor?
I would ask that we talk about it later all at one time so we can get all the information together.
I thought these were comments from council people. I didn't know there were
That's correct.
comments on it.
You're absolutely
I
right.
have other things to say though, Mayor.
Please,
Don't believe it.
continue.
It was tying it all in. It's like a little story. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Don't believe it.
Now I've lost my place. The cost for the health benefits of a current council person for 1 year would pay for the consultant. The same cost for benefits for the following year would go a long way to pay for the actual bumps, which would be upward of $50,000. I think Mr. Spock of Star Trek said it best: the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. In this case, one. Is it not our #1 responsibility to protect the safety and well-being of the people that reside in our town? I believe it is. Which leads me to my final observation regarding the real grandstanding taking place each week since Joe and myself have been elected to council. Grandstanding 101. A past council person waving a $50 check in the air with prepared comments, embarrassing himself while trying to demean a fellow resident and taxpayer. Shame on you for this behavior. First of all, if you wanted to do what was right and for the right reason, that check would have been made out to the borough of Garwood, not to the person you were belittling. Better yet, if you were really serious about helping the situation and not spouting self-serving talking points, how about writing that check for the total amount of $32,000 to the borough of Garwood? Speed bumps, here we come. How about making a check out to each and every resident of Garwood? Your $50 grand gesture meant nothing. It was grandstanding, demeaning, and an embarrassment to all who sat in this room. What you thought that would accomplish, only you would know. To all those who have come to each meeting with prepared statements, I have a suggestion. Look up from your prepared scripts and pay attention to what is really going on. Before attacking us, how about you better inform yourselves on the issues? You might actually be surprised at what is really going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're reading from her
Any
statement.
comments? Oh, Councilwoman, may I ask that you give all the information on the speed bumps to the police
Oh, yes, I will.
committee, please? So they can follow through on that?
That'd be great.
Thank you. Councilman Martin, any, Councilman Matthew?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I forwarded an email to the other members of the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and I give a heads up to the clerk. I'm just going to ask that on the next meeting, we have the renewal of the janitorial shared services agreement with the Board of Ed put on the agenda for a vote for next time. I heard that, to bring everybody up to speed, the Board of Ed's already approved it, an extension with 2% increases. And then Jack Sullivan got back to me. He's of the opinion that the agreement's working well, didn't have any further input. So I'm just asking that be put on the agenda for next meeting.
Very good.
And that's all from me, Mayor.
Thank you.
Did they give you the agreement? Did they give the copy of
Did
it?
they, you know what, that's a great question. I'm gonna check the email, see if we got a copy of it. If not, I'm gonna get it for you. All right?
Any comments on the councilman's report this evening? Hearing none, we'll continue on. Councilman Sarno.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Council President
That's a big thank you.
Petroselli.
I really don't have a prepared statement, okay? But I do want to just say a couple words, okay? We've been talking about my health benefits now probably every single meeting, okay? And just like it was brought up at the last election when I ran, when it was in our debate, when Mrs. Simmons said that this is a personal choice, okay? So that is my personal choice, okay? Ms. Ariam just read you the law, okay? I do not plan on signing a waiver to not have health benefits for my family, and that's the end of it. And if you have any other questions that you want to ask me, you can refer to this statement. I will not sign a waiver. I will not be bullied into waiving those health benefits, and go to Ms. Ariama's statement if you need any further questions answered. That's it. I've had enough of being quiet.
Thank you.
I have a question on that for Council President Petroselli. Would you consider a compromise
I
about
don't have
paying
any
the
answers
co-pay?
for you, Councilman Matthew, and it's anything that I can do.
Excuse me, I'm not done speaking. I have a question for you.
If there's
If you
anything
could
that I
not,
want to do,
Council
I'll do it on my
President,
own.
I was recognized to ask a question, sir.
I don't recognize
Please
you.
calm
You
down.
don't have to accept the...
Yeah, don't be rude. All right, all I'm asking you is there a compromise that you would accept where you pay a meaningful part of your health benefits? Lord knows, I'm not asking you to waive benefits for your family. I'm asking you to pay for them. Don't waive the benefits, pay for them like we all did.
You asked your question. Thank you. We're going to move on now at this point. Public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone. State your name and address. Please hold your comments for 3 minutes.
Jeff Sylvester, 554 Myrtle Avenue. I really don't want to get into the whole debate with this benefit thing. I just want to, if somebody's a taxpayer, somebody's like come to meetings, as much as I can. This has been going on forever. It's consumed this whole council and the past council. There's been 2 elections where everybody in this town, if they had a problem with Mr. Petroselli getting his benefits, they had a vote. Go to the poll and vote him out. 2 times. If I'm wrong, tell me. Right? 2 times they could have voted him out. He won both elections. He's entitled to those benefits by law. Leave the man alone.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson? We're going to move you out.
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 225 Willow Avenue. I guess for those that know me, I always speak about the government and it's the frustrations that the taxpayer has. And it's really tough to fight, and I'm not going to deny it. Maybe the Republicans can come up with some kind of alternative, but I go to the county meetings. a lot. And that's where I really get frustrated, hit my head against the wall, because everything they do, they can actually justify it to be legal. A biggie is the political donations that they get during their campaign, where it seems like all the contracts they give out, legal and professional, actually go to those that donate to the freeholder campaigns and their cronies around the county, and Lesnack, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I speak about that, about pay to play, and they just return that it's perfectly legal, and it is. I would assume it's not like I read the law, but yes, from years I guess I do understand it is legal. But this is why the taxpayers get really frustrated, and we are looking at some kind of outrage. Obviously, we're looking at two sides. I really, you know my side, and I surely don't understand the other side, except that it's legal or whatever the wording is that Tina had read. So, I mean, I guess there are other people out there that are frustrated also, as much as I. God forbid they go to the county if they really want to get frustrated, but we have our own little issues here that legal, and this is where we stand, and this could be the reason why New Jersey is the highest tax state, just because of entitlements and self-enrichment, and all legal. It's all legal, and I'm frustrated, but I'm not gonna go away, and I'm not gonna say this is the issue that that I have du jour. I mean, I have many issues about the government, as you know, and so I just wanted to comment that yes, I am frustrated, and I do see the sides, and I don't know if anybody else wants to speak, they can.
Thank you. And you're under 3 minutes. Good job.
First for everything. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Richard King, 412 Hazel Avenue. A couple of things. First of all, I want to agree with Mr. Sylvester, except for one point that I think that was missed, is the reason he was reelected multiple years is because he does a good job on council for the township. Okay, let's not forget that. Secondly, the one thing I want to ask the council to do is put this to rest right now. Let's all work together as a unit and make Garwood a better place to live. That's all. None of this, tired of all this fighting in the town. Last council meeting, I wasn't able to attend. I'll be honest with you. I was embarrassed to tell people I live in Garwood after what I watched on that video. Utterly embarrassed to live here. So let's try to turn this around and try to work as a unit for the people of Garwood, not just individuals.
Thank you, Mr. King. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Paul Nieves, and I live in 263 4th Avenue. I am going to read from a prepared speech, and Councilman Cooper, I'll try to make contact with you as much as possible. I respectfully request that the confidential memorandum of Attorney Menard drafted to the Garwood Borough be released to me and the public pursuant to the Open Public Records Act. I believe releasing the memo promotes transparency and would be in the benefit of the public interest. As you all may recall, Councilman Sarno stated that the memo permitted the revocation of the state mandate and actually moved to have the resolution to that effect, which is pending. Councilman Martin, on the other hand, believed that the memo stated that it would be unlawful to revoke the state benefits. It is my conviction that as a citizen and taxpayer of Garwood, and in the spirit of the platform that the Republicans ran on, that transparency demands that we all know what the actual opinion of the Garwood County Attorney is regarding the legality of passing a resolution to revoke a state-required mandate. Releasing the memorandum will also hold those that vote on this looming resolution accountable should legal action ensue. The tactics, techniques, and procedures employed by several members of council during the last meeting regarding Councilman Petrozelli's health care benefits was and is shameful. How dare you, Councilman Matthew, ask Councilman Petrozelli what his salary is? How dare you ask him if he's willing to forego health care benefits for his wife and his children, knowing that they're all legally entitled to them? How dare you ask him to pay for his entire health care benefit without knowing anything about his family and his personal finances? How dare you ask him to contribute to something you know as a lawyer he has no legal obligation to contribute toward? How dare you, Councilman Matthew, ask Councilman Petrozelli if he's willing to forego his legal rights and access to our courts, should his family's health care benefits be revoked. The health care resolution to revoke Councilman Petrocelli's health care mandate has nothing to do with fiscal responsibility and everything to do with the misplaced royalties and respecting the following of the law. Voting against the funding of a legal mandate and or obligation has negative consequences and may expose this council to legal liability without the protection of legal insurance. I have here in my hand copies of the ordinance, resolution, and settlement of the lawsuit that was paid out as a result of not honoring a legal obligation. Many of you recall that this council was sued and Councilman Matthew personally named in a lawsuit that resulted in a taxpayer having to pay over $30,000 in compensation and the insurance paying over $45,000 in counsel fees. Does council really want to run the risk of litigation again at the instigation of Councilman Matthew? Does council really want to run the risk of insurance company not providing coverage this time because you voted contrary to the evidence, to the advice of your counsel? Voting against a state mandate may not only be illegal, but it is mean-spirited and contrary to the will of the people. What greater act of hypocrisy is there when those that oppose the firing of Fred Corbett on humanitarian grounds?
Are you almost finished?
Yes, sir. Now favor leaving a family with a special needs child without health care coverage. What greater act of hypocrisy is there when you claim that it is the will of the people to cancel Councilman Petrocelli's health care coverage despite him having been reelected twice after the law came into effect? If you vote in favor of revoking the health care benefit, I ask that you first pledge to keep the DPW shared service agreement in effect and not to burden our taxpayers with an additional $70,000 in liability. This would demonstrate consistency of convictions and moral and political courage. I anticipate that those in favor of skirting the law will do as Councilman Matthew did during the last council meeting, regurgitate a bunch of figures, compare them to other liabilities we currently have, and then close by repeating the grand total of $168,000 for paying Councilman Petrocelli's health care benefits to date. They will not mention that those costs are all legally mandated. If they really had a problem with this mandate, they should have petitioned Trenton to change the law. If they really were offended by this mandate, they should have had an issue during both political campaigns. If this is not really about fiscal responsibility, then they should not run a campaign to overturn the DPW agreement at the cost of twice the current legal health care mandate. Many in favor of ignoring the May 2010 health care mandate will call it a loophole. I, as a lawyer and a citizen of New Jersey, have more respect for the will of our state legislatures, and I call the statute the law, which must be honored. For all these reasons, I respectfully request that the confidential memorandum be released to me and to the public, and that you vote no to the resolution revoking the health care mandate. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Neves,
Yes, sir.
would you please give a copy of your report to the borough clerk?
Yes, sir.
At your convenience, please.
Yes.
Anyone else, please step forward. Seeing none, I ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we'll just continue on. All rise for a moment of silence, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader and the Union County local source, advertised on January 7, 2016. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the public bulletin board and filed in the office of the municipal clerk of the public with time and place, according to provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Everyone, please turn your cell phones off or please put on vibrate. Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Mayor Lombardo.
Here.
Councilman Kukrow.
Here.
Councilman Martin. Councilman Matthews.
Here.
Councilman Sarno.
Here.
Councilwoman Disco.
Here.
And Council President Petroselli.
Here.
Minutes, Ms. Ariano.
Regular workshop minutes of the Mayor and Council held on February 9, 2016.
I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Ariano, communications.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities, Mayor's Advisories.
Receive and file.
Division of Local Government Services, Transitional Aid.
Receive and file.
Jennifer Bloomstock, letter to the council regarding benefits.
Receive and file.
Union County Improvement Authority, annual meeting schedule.
Receive and file.
Lori Valley Sewage Authority, meeting schedule.
Receive and file.
Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders Ordinance.
Receive and file. Public hearing on ordinance 16-01 as advertised on February 11, 2016. Ms. Ariano, please read the ordinance 16-01 by title only.
Yes, Mayor, an ordinance to amend 83-7 non-life hazard uses in Article 1 Fire Prevention and Maintenance Code. In Chapter 83 Fire Prevention of the Code of the Borough of Berwick to revise certain fees for inspections.
Have you received any correspondence?
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 16-01? Yes.
Saving time, could you just tell us what revised, which fees revised, if it's all of them, or from what to
Well,
what?
when the ordinance is in it, it's not out there,
Yeah, it's out there.
they all were revised.
All of them? Thank you.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing on 1601?
So moved, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 16-01?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 16-01, Mayor.
Do I have a second? Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Disco.
Aye.
And Council President Petroselli.
Aye.
Ms. Ariano, please read ordinance 16-02 by title only.
Yes, Mayor. An ordinance to amend Chapter 30 Personnel Policies of the Code of the Borough of Berwick to limit eligibility for health insurance benefits and other benefits.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay, sorry. Do I have a motion to introduce ordinance 16-02?
I'll make a motion to introduce it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to,
Mayor, I just would like to make a quick statement
Okay, thank
on
you.
this ordinance. I just want to state for the record that as a general principle, I do not agree with elected officials receiving health benefits. However, I do respect the law and the advice of two attorneys on this matter. What are we if we don't have respect for the law? Therefore, I cannot support this ordinance.
thank you. I have a statement of my own. I will state for the record again, I've always been supportive of the councilman retaining his health insurance. The statute has been stated many times. I will take the stand until the law is changed. If you don't like the law, I suggest you go to Trenton to lobby and petition the governor to change the law. Also, this issue should not be related to the firing of Fred Corbett. The support of firing of Fred just for benefits is an unfair statement. His position became a casualty of economics. The shared service agreement was a good deal for all, with all its components, and should have nothing to do with the councilman's health benefits. This is not a Republican or Democratic situation. This issue is not about stipends or partial payments to make it acceptable. It is not about personal family situation. It is either right or wrong under the law. We have had two legal professional opinions stating that one councilman is entitled to health insurance and he is grandfathered under the law. He has a legal right to obtain his health insurance through the borough. If brought into a suit, the insurance company would not cover our defense. We cannot jeopardize or put at risk our community for another potential lawsuit that we cannot win. Causing the taxpayers more money for coming, it is obvious to be governed by a state law. Doing additional research, I found that according to the legal department of the League of Municipalities, if an elected official needs legal advice, that question should be directed to the municipal attorney, and that municipal attorney is the primary source of legal advice. Because of the statute stated, this issue shall be laid to rest so that the councilman can go on dealing with the issue, that we can go on dealing with the issues ahead of us and not expend any more energy on this fruitless battle. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilwoman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin. Councilman Matthew.
What did you vote?
Yeah, what did you say?
No. All right, I need it.
Sorry.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Finisco.
No.
Councilman Petroselli.
Abstain.
Okay. Continue on. Council Standing Committee reports and other reports. Councilman Sarno, Police.
Thank you and good evening. The two officers out with injury and on workman's compensation are both due for reevaluation within the next week. It is expected that both officers will be released for full duty at some point in March. Officer Pridey has completed Phase A and B of his coach program and is currently in Phase C. He's ahead of schedule and should complete the training by mid-March, at which point he will be released for solo patrol. Officer Pridey's 8 years' experience as a police officer prior to coming to the Borough PD has expedited the training process and has helped him become acclimated to the borough and the procedures of the PD. Additionally, in regards to Resolution 16-162, on tonight's agenda, I would like to point out that the officer is due for this promotion by contract, and there is nothing to preclude Officer Zwena from retaining his step 1 promotion, and the recommendation was made as he has served the borough honorably and productively. That's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Any questions on the report? Hearing none, Public Health, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Streets and Roads and Ecology, Councilman Petroselli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Department of Public Works completed the following from February 10th through February 23rd. Reoccurring activities, perform residential household waste pickup twice a week on north and south sides of the borough, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Fuel all vehicles and equipment at the Union County Public Works Complex in Scotch Plains. Provide a residential white good appliance pickup at various times weekly throughout the borough. Other performances were performed de-icing on borough streets, parking lots, school crossings, and sidewalks during the small winter event on February 15th and 16th. Continue clearing the debris from the tops of all stormwater drain inlets on north and south side of the borough. Remove the advertisements from utility poles in various locations throughout the borough. Replace bulbs in the overpass sidewalk lighting on both sides of Center Street. Cut up and remove broken branches in various locations of the borough. Remove the clothing bins from the commuter parking lot at Burger King. Picked up brush from the 200 block of 3rd Avenue. Remove the remove the leaning trees at the Sports and Recreation Complex. Cleaned all trucks and equipment within the fleet. And also performed winter pothole repairs in various locations throughout the borough. And on a shared service note, Fanwood brought their front-end loader and was provided with an operator to perform the following. Push back the stockpiled snow in the recycling center to make room for access to the bins and equipment in the center, and assisted in relocating the stockpiled wood chips from along the dead end of Willow at the recycling center to help out with the installation of the new water main. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Any questions on the Streets and Roads report? Hearing none, we'll continue on. Fire, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. The Fire Committee hereby approves the membership application for Patrick Zotak, 307 Willow Avenue, Garwood. He has both passed his physical and background requirements. Patrick is a former member of the department, and we welcome him back. That's all for my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments on the fire report? We may take a moment. Mr. Renard, do you have anything to report?
No, Mayor, I don't think I do.
Okay.
We have the ordinances that I see you've gotten through. I do apologize. I just had an unavoidable schedule conflict this afternoon. I was never going to make it. I apologize.
Okay. Okay. If you may hold that question, Council. Thank you. Finance, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. You took half of my report about the property taxes being able to be paid online.
I apologize.
Not a problem at all, you're the mayor. The meetings of the Finance Committee are ongoing. for the budget process, I would like to remind everyone that the special budget meetings of the mayor and council will be on Thursday, March 10th and Thursday, March 17th. Both meetings will be starting here in council chambers at 7 p.m. and I encourage the public to attend these meetings. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on the report from finance? Hearing none, buildings and grounds, Councilman Matthews.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Laws and license, Councilman Martin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Received a letter from Chief of Police Bruce Underhill about the need to update the property maintenance code in the borough. Would be really the enforcement piece of the property maintenance code. Ours is outdated. It's based on a national code that no longer really exists. That's been replaced by a new code. So this work was actually begun last year, but we need to get back on it and complete the work. And so I'll be speaking with the members of the committee, see if we can get together to have a meeting to start looking at some revisions, for which the chief has already submitted some proposals.
Very good, thank
That
you.
is it from our report.
Thank you. Any comments on the laws and license report? Hearing none, recreation, Councilman Martin.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Garwood Senior Citizen Liaison, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a very long meeting, so I have a lot to say today. Sorry. First of all, I'm very happy to announce that after many inquiries and tenaciousness, beginning in April, crafts and ceramics will be brought back to the Garwood seniors. It will be the second and fourth Thursdays of the month with alternating days for each. I would like to thank Tina, who gave us a name to start the ball rolling after a year of no activity to accomplish this, and to Paulette, who reached out to make it happen. Many things can be accomplished if we try hard enough to help the people that are the backbone of Garwood and such an important part of our community. On Thursday, June 23rd, from 11 to 3, will be the senior picnic. I will begin to inquire where we can get tents donated for this event. If anybody knows who can help me accomplish this without turning it into a photo op, I would greatly appreciate this. If it rains, it will be at the firehouse. August 11th, there'll be from 12:30 to 3:30. There will be an ice cream sundae party with music. April 21st from 9 to 12, there will be a stroke screening at Overlook Hospital. Memory screenings will also be available by appointment and the date to be determined. First in line for that. March 3rd, Chief Underhill will be speaking to a very concerning topic about first aid and 9/11 calls. There are also two other presenters that were scheduled to speak on this topic, but will be put on the back burner in the event the Chief can clarify and explain with clarity to the satisfaction of the group. Another resident has been asking relentlessly with no action taken for quite a while concerning the missing street sign on the corner of Hickory and Lexington. I spoke to the chief and he said it would be taken care of promptly. I was also very happy to assist another resident that applied and received aid for home repairs through the Union County Senior Home Improvement Program. She was very unhappy with the job that was being done in her front steps that needed major repair work as well as a new handrail. She wanted the handrail to go up to her door due to precarious balance instead of the previous one that was 2 steps down and had nothing for her to hold on to. She said the contractor wanted an extra $400 from her to extend the railing. I made many phone calls and met with the contractor myself at her house to explain to him what her issue was. Of course, after much dialogue, he sent another person out to clean up her steps to Mary's liking and also agreed to extend the handrail up to the door with no added expense to the homeowner. When I spoke at the senior meeting, I explained to everyone that they should please have someone look over these contracts that they are expected to sign when they're looking for assistance from this program, as the legal lingo is hard to comprehend. The person that had this issue called me over the weekend and said they want her to sign another 20 pages of documents so the contractor can get paid. I informed her not to sign anything until the permit has been closed out and the Cranford Building Department comes out to inspect and it passes. She said she would make him wait as long as he made her wait to get the job completed to her satisfaction. The Historical Committee left flyers about the Garwood Complex rededication of the bronze plaques commemorating those volunteers who helped build the initial complex in 1960 and others supporting at that time. There is a list of 84 names that were involved and would like to reach out to any families or friends that has contact info so they can be reached. The rededication will take place on June 12th at 2. Reach out to Bruce Patterson if you have any questions or further info. I would also like to greatly thank Kathleen from Borough Hall, who took the time and came to the meeting and stayed for a while to help anyone that needed assistance with the parking permits. I was happy to see that almost everyone had taken care of it previously. The group is also very pleased with the modification to Garwood Senior Citizen Liaison. I would like to also thank Mayor Lombardo once again for making me the liaison for this wonderful group of people. As I look around that room at every meeting, I see my parents' faces and all of their faces, and many whose kids I went to school with. Sometimes the melancholy and sadness is overwhelming, as they are no longer with me. I feel like I am doing what I was elected to do, and that is to help any way I can, and it lessens the sadness for me with the enjoyment I am receiving in return. Of course, those great $2 sandwiches are not too bad either. Thank you very much, Mayor. That's all for me.
Thank you. Two things, Councilwoman. As far as the tents for the picnic, former Councilman Tarantino
Okay.
reached out to the county.
Okay.
They were very supportive to help her and that.
Okay.
And also, too, I've been in contact with that senior on Willow Avenue, Mary.
Yes.
And I looked at the job myself, and I have a phone call into the organization that made the contract up for her, and I'm not pleased. I personally think they're unsafe because there's a...
Well, I went over there, I took photos, I met them all there, and they weren't very accommodating, but I appreciate you doing, like I said, you couldn't really get anywhere with the Rawway chapter, whoever was doing it, but I think she was pretty happy once they went out there, cleaned everything up,
Okay.
and especially now that the railing is all the way up to her door.
Very
She
good.
won't fall down the stairs, so
Thank you.
Mayor, I do have one comment. Councilwoman Kukrow, the Recreation Commission purchased 2 tents last year
Okay.
for their summer program. So you can reach out to the Recreation Director or Chairman, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help out too.
Oh,
So
that'll be wonderful.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Isn't that you? Okay. Okay.
All righty, anything else on the senior citizen liaison report? Hearing and seeing none. Libraries report, Council President Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. Winter is the perfect time to stay inside and enjoy a good book or movie. The library has books for all interests and many recent releases, including The Martian, Mad Max, Fury Road, Everest, Goosebumps, and Ant-Man. February is also a good month for Legos. The kids had a lot of fun at the Lego Garwood Derby, and another derby is coming up this week on Thursday, February 25th. Seniors are enjoying Friday movies. Next Friday, the library presents the classic From Here to Eternity. The following Friday, the Duke, John Wayne, will be making an appearance in The Quiet Man. March 2nd is Dr. Seuss's birthday. The library is celebrating at 3 p.m. on the 2nd with a Seuss-themed birthday cake, Justin Bieber reading The Cat in the Hat, President Obama reading Green Eggs and Ham, and Dr. Seuss bingo with prizes and more. March is also National Craft Month. We will be celebrating with Craft Fridays. Each Friday, a simple craft will be available to anyone who feels inclined, including origami, flower making, and painting. And as always, the library has many other programs, including the Knitting Club Mondays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m., Color Me Calm Mondays at 11:30 a.m., book clubs, Adult Ed Tuesdays, Thursdays at noon, ESL Tuesdays at 2 p.m., Parent-Child Knitting Wednesday, 6 p.m., Toddler Story Time Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. The library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4:30, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. At 1 p.m. Library is closed Friday, March 25th, and Saturday the 26th for the Easter holiday. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council. Any comments on the report from the library representative? Hearing none, we'll move on. School Board Liaison, Councilman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. The school board met Tuesday, February 16th, and approved the hiring of an education specialist to assist in the observation and evaluation of teachers at Lincoln School on an as-needed basis for 9 to 10 days of work. Board President Christine Guerriero informed us that ALJ will be switching to block scheduling. The new schedule will start with 2 80-minute instruction periods, lunch, a 25-minute activity period, followed by 2 more 80-minute instructional periods. The reasoning for the change was to allow for continuous quality learning without as many interruptions as the former schedule currently has in place. The 12th annual appreciation dinner is at the Westwood on Thursday, April 21st from 6 to 9 p.m., where the Educator of the Year and the Garwood Person of the Year will both be honored respectively. And lastly, the Lincoln School just passed its 100th day milestone on February 17th, and some students took 100 steps and wrote about what they saw in their small journey. Thank you. That is all for my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments or report? Hearing none at this point. Celebration of public events and holidays, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the last meeting of the Celebrations Committee last week on February 17th. The committee is gearing up for the Egg Hunt, which will be held at the Garwood Recreation Complex on March 19th. Residents can arrive at 11:45 a.m. as the Egg Hunt will begin at 12:15 p.m. In addition to eggs, children will have an opportunity to win prizes that will be raffled off. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. Additionally, at the meeting, I made a suggestion that the borough ask businesses to sponsor half of the banners in town, as some other towns do, such as Springfield and Clark, that can be left up year-round, and the other banners can alternate through the seasons. The committee and I will investigate this possibility, which would support shopping local and make the banner changing operation easier for the DPW. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments? Hearing none. Union County Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilman Matthew.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Historical Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thanks, Mayor. I attended the Historical Committee meeting last night. The committee is continuing to plan the rededication of the Recreation Complex. Again, the date has been set for Sunday, June 12th, with a rain date of the following week on June 19th. The committee will be sending out a press release. As Councilwoman Kukrow mentioned, there are quite about 80-something names on that list that are being sent out as a way to let the families know about this event. And the names range from Baseball League members and volunteers to the Lions Club and more. This press release will also be uploaded to the borough website, and we are really excited for this event and hope everyone can join us, as you can tell, since it was mentioned twice tonight. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on that report? Hearing none, we'll take a minute. Councilman Matthew, you have a question for Mr. Renard?
Yeah, and forgive me if this is not the appropriate venue. I wanted to know about the COA litigation. Is there any updates on that? Or?
Currently, our immunity from lawsuits runs through April. We have April 1st, to be precise. We have a case management conference on the case on March 15th. That's really, other than what we discussed the last time, I think we had a closed session. Nothing new has happened since then.
Is it possible that the immunity can terminate while this is going on?
Yeah, one of the things that Judge is having us all get together to see where everybody stands. I'm not anticipating that our immunity will run out and not be extended, but you know, I can't tell you it's not a possibility, but I'm not expecting that that's going to happen.
That's issued from the judge?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
If you want more of a discussion or an update, I mean, we could have a closed session. I really don't want to discuss too many of the details of the litigation open, but.
What was your answer to Councilman's question?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
If maybe next time we want to.
Okay. Okay. Continue on. Officers report, Ms. Ariano.
Chief of Police Bruce Anaheim monthly report for January 2016. Municipal Court Administrator Martha Marino monthly report for January 2016.
Do I have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make a motion to accept the officers' reports, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Public comment. If anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor or council, please step to the microphone. State your full name and address for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'll be real brief. Paul Nieves, 264 Avenue. Just want to express my extreme dismay at the resolution apparently passing. I believe that it's illegal, immoral, and unethical. I'm also asking and renewing my request for the Council Nogg's memo to be released. I believe in the spirit of transparency, that memo needs to be released to ensure that people are held accountable, particularly on how they voted today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a few minutes, Mayor. Jeff Sylvester, 554 Myrtle. After the meeting has sort of progressed a little bit, I was the first one to speak earlier, so I sort of held this thought until I see where we were going with this. But I don't see tonight, haven't seen really ever being here over this issue of Mr. Petroselli, a public outcry for him to give up his benefits. I see a inside outcry between certain individuals here, but I don't see anybody on the floor standing up here demanding that he gives up his benefits. Mr. Patterson has a few words to say, but nothing out of the ordinary, okay? But I don't see anybody up here screaming, banging their hands on the table. You got to give up your benefits. I'm a taxpayer. No one's doing that. This is not about the public. The public had 2 elections to remove him from office if this was such a big issue. They did not, both times. This is from inside. This is your problem you're creating for this town. And you're going to get a lawsuit on your hand, and you're going to be liable if you let this ordinance go through. Just, this is where it's going. You've been here before, okay? Again, you cannot adopt this ordinance because it's going to be nothing but trouble for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Richard McCormick, 101 4th Avenue, Garwood. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I promised myself I would not step up here, but that last comment brought me over the line. If that gentleman was here at the last meeting, he would obviously seen some people opposing what's going on here today. With that said, before that, beginning of the meeting, there was a gentleman that stood up and said he was embarrassed to be a resident of Garwood. I am not embarrassed of a resident of Garwood to voice my opinion on whether he, she, or we believe in something. It's my opinion. I'm not embarrassed. Second, a lawyer stepped up here with 3 minutes to speak, and I know he ran over that 3 minutes, and I think as a lawyer he should take that into consideration in his speech, so I hope he does that the next time. But just to the last gentleman's opinion, I'm not here to beat up on a councilman for his health benefits. I'm here to just think, are you really think it's granted that we Garwood taxpayers should pay for one person's medical benefits? And if so, I guess if you guys adopt that, that's great for his benefit. But what happens when you leave this council? What do you do at that point? Are you prepared to pay what you have to pay? Don't answer the question. It's just my voice. I'm just a little perturbed that we can stand up here and say that you deserve something, somebody else deserves nothing. I've only gotten involved after 31 years in this town, being up here to voice my opinion after what we're all talking about, Fred and the DPW. So part of this council has always decided to say it's okay that we did such and such a thing to get rid of Fred and save so much money, but there's maybe a majority, maybe just a small majority of us, we're voicing our opinion to do something onto the benefits of the councilman. Just listen, but don't beat us up. That's not right. That's not fair. That's my comment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Again, Richard King, 412 Hazel Avenue. I just want to clarify my position here when I said I was embarrassed to be a member of the Garwood community. It was because of the actions that took place at this meeting by these council members. It was embarrassing to put this man on trial in front of the public. It could have been done behind closed doors, and it would have been resolved. Secondly,
Thank you. Anyone else, please? Seeing none, we'll continue on to the agenda. Consent agenda. We have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
And Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Nisco.
Aye.
And Council President Petroselli.
Aye.
I do have a resolution deleted from the consent agenda.
Would you please read by?
Mr. Mayor, it's Resolution 16-165, whereas the municipal clerk custodian of records has received an open request or a letter that has been deemed attorney-client privilege dated January 25, 2016, regarding state health benefits program eligibility, written by Borough Attorney Renata. Be resolved by the Council of the Borough of Garwood that the custodian of records is hereby authorized to provide said letter to the requester and hereby deems that this deems this letter public record for purposes of disclosure.
Councilman? You have a question?
Is the discussion part of it?
Okay.
We need a motion to introduce it.
You have a motion to introduce?
I'll make a motion to introduce Resolution 16-165, Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Now you can have discussion.
Discussion, please?
No, I'm sorry, I think we both kind of lost track of which resolution.
It's not on the
It's not on
agenda.
the agenda.
I
All right,
just
oh,
presented
good.
it
No
to
problem.
you.
That's why
I
I
just
say.
read it.
Okay, all right.
For your decision.
To release the attorney.
You
All right,
have
we
to
did
vote
some
on it.
discussion with Mr. Menendez was talking about.
I'll read it to you again if you'd like. Do you have a question
I'd
about
like
what
to
we're
just,
doing?
I just like to look at it as opposed to just hearing it, that's all. Thank you.
Oh, you know who it was, yeah.
I just, Mayor, I have a question, a couple questions. How did this wind up on the agenda?
I think I can answer. I got an open request for the letter. I wasn't sure if it's disclosable. I asked. The attorney told me it's disclosable if you allow it to be disclosable. You can't communicate with me via email, so you have to do it here.
Mr. Renaud, in past practice, haven't we just simply refused to disclose any attorney-client privilege documents or communications? I've never, in over 5 years on the council, I've never seen a resolution to breach attorney-client privilege.
I don't remember, excuse me, I don't remember off the top of my head whether we have or not. They usually aren't, I don't know how many opinions I've offered, but they're usually not discussed to the extent that they were. But that's, I mean, it's up to the council. That's what the issue is I indicated that it's not disclosable unless the council authorizes it to be disclosed. So that's.
I just want to know for the record, this is very unique. We've never had a resolution to breach attorney-client privilege. This is the first time I'm seeing this in over 5 years, and I think it's just bizarre. The other thing is, is this going to cause us to lose attorney-client privilege perhaps as to other communications regarding this? Are you confident that we can limit, should we vote to do this, we could limit it to this one piece of paper?
Yes. I don't know how to question that. And I don't have an opinion, I understand, on whether or not it ought to be disclosed. It's not, I'm not advocating it, I just answered the question, which is it disclosable? The answer was not unless the council authorizes it to be disclosed. I mean, it's up to you. I'm not advocating either way. It doesn't, I gave you an opinion, you know, the opinion was discussed. It's up to you.
Okay. I mean,
I'm not worried about future opinions because I'm just not. I don't think that's a concern.
What about other communications on this matter?
About other communications on the matter.
Yeah, once we breach the privilege, now is it open for?
No, it's limited. It's limited to this letter. If you authorize it, that's all the resolution speaks to.
Yeah, I'm just very uncomfortable with doing this. This is a slippery slope, and I just wonder, I question the propriety of putting this on the agenda when in the past, all we've done is deny requests for things that had attorney-client privilege. And the other thing is, now, are we now going to have votes ad infinitum in the future? Let's release this email chain that's attorney-client privilege, but not that memo. And then let's release this communication over here, but not those sets of communications over here. I think it just sets a really terrible precedent. So for that reason, I'm going to vote against.
I'm also against this. I believe any breach of attorney-client privilege, I don't care who it is. I mean, we still, I like to believe, have a little bit of our freedoms left in privacy. So I'm not very happy with that at all.
You know, I've wrestled with this, thinking about it. You know, I thought about what you said, the slippery slope, but so much of it was quoted. I mean, I think it's just only right that we put that out there. Otherwise, I would never even go near it. But because so much of it was quoted, and I've been on both sides of this, but I'm leaning like 51-49 on disclosing it. That's how close it is for me. But, you know, you just got, I mean, I understand it, but, I mean, just given the unusual circumstances where you know, I voted, I mean, I was the one that came out of committee that did not want to go against it, and I think that's what precipitated all this, but, you know, that's fine by me, and that's, you know, my call.
Mayor, I have just a comment on this, as I made the motion for it. I, of course, did think about the attorney-client privilege issue as well. However, just because it's a first situation that we've been presented with this, doesn't mean that it's wrong. And I think in the name of transparency, and since it is an issue that so much has been quoted from this dais, the public is entitled to see what the attorney has presented to the council, that it appears based on the vote on introduction, we as a governing body, not myself personally, but we as a governing body may be going against that opinion. I think it's very important for the public to see it, so that's why I will vote yes.
And let me add one more thing. If anyone has any questions about some of the research I provided last week or something like that, please come to me. I'll gladly discuss it civilly. It doesn't matter, you know, I'm an open book. You want to talk to me? Okay, please.
Any further comments on this? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Kukrow.
No.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthew.
No.
Councilman Sarno.
Yes.
Councilman Didisco.
Yes.
Councilman Petroselli.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, actually, while the topic's on, if I could just ask a question, do you want, in the future, if there's a request for something, that we should just deny it and not ask the council if they want it disclosed? Because we could do that, obviously.
So, 'cause what I was gonna say, and I think Councilman Sarno really hit upon it. I mean, this is such a singular issue, that usually we get these big Oprah requests that are all encompassing, and then you go through and you find things that are not disclosable under certain exceptions. So this is a unique situation. Maybe the moral of the story is to avoid quoting so heavily from a legal opinion in a committee report. That might be the thing, because I hear Councilman Sarno, it's almost like you're already pregnant. So, that would be, so for specific, I don't know, again, I'm just very uncomfortable with it. If you want to come to us, for people who go ahead and say, give me this specific attorney-client communication, I guess we've set the precedent now. You put it on the agenda.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason why it's on, I can't remember whether it was my idea or not, frankly, was it's unusual that, in other words, ordinarily, if I send you something that's attorney-client, it isn't discussed in public. I mean, and as Councilman Sarno said, it was extensively quoted from, so I thought that, and whether, frankly, as I say, I can't remember whether it was my idea or not, but I thought that you should make a decision based on what transpired at the meeting on whether it would be released or not.
And that is exactly.
That was the thought process.
That is exactly why I
anyway.
put it before you, because normally I would just have denied a request for a letter written by the attorney through you. But since you discussed it at a lot, I didn't feel like I should just deny it. You exposed it, and that's when the attorney told me that you have to decide on this. But I wouldn't ask you for something I clearly know is deniable, that you haven't discussed or exposed. I would just deny that. That's why you never see them, Councilman.
Maybe Councilman Matthew has the right idea. Maybe it's unlikely that the situation will arise again, but probably not a good idea to be discussing the legal opinions. Okay, that's a good, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
It's interesting though, because Mr. Nod, I know it's sometimes said that you work for the whole council, but I believe you work for the whole town too, in a sense, through us. So, I like to err on the side of public information, but I'll leave it at that.
The resolution did pass, and I will complete the Oprah request and give out the letter.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue on. Any new business any council members have? Proclamations, National Nutrition Month, March 2016. I will make a presentation at the March 8th meeting on behalf of the council. I am appointing Tina Ariema to our Historical Committee for the balance of the year 2016. And also, Councilwoman Tedesco asked me to consider removing her from the Streets and Roads Committee due to an increasing workload. Working towards her master's degree, I'm going to grant her request and replace her with Councilman Martin on the Streets and Roads Committee. Okay, moving on, payment of claims. Sariano? Okay.
Be resolved, the following claims as approved be in the same or hereby ordered paid and properly signed and verified as payment of payroll as listed with confirmed in America.
Do I have a motion to adopt payment of claims resolution?
So moved, Mayor?
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Sariano.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthew.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
Council President Petrosi.
Aye.
The regular meeting of the mayor and council will be held on Tuesday, March the 8th, 2016, in council chambers at 7:15. The workshop session will start at 7 p.m. There will be a public hearing in council chambers on ordinance 16-02 on Tuesday, March 8th, 2016, at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter. I have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Statement.